shop, they had a nice furniture store, really nice.
Yeah.
And there were two Swenson brothers, and they embalmed them, and then they brought them to your house.
And so you had your...
And they laid them out here.
This is where your brother was then?
Pardon?
This is where they laid out your brother?
Yeah, my brother. He was the last one that was laid out. After that, then they had funeral homes. Kelly came, and the other one came, and but then they'd all stay here, and it was open all night long. People would come and go all night long. They never had it the same day, which I think is nice, because they have laid out, and then you'd have coffee and they'd have everything in that, and then the next morning they would take them to church and they would have the funeral.
Oh.
Now they're even around here. There are lots of times. Well, I want to go to church, laid out in church. We have a big enough place there,
yeah,
and then have it right in church. But years ago they didn't do that. Now some of the funeral homes in Escanaba are even making a reception room there where they can have their coffee and everything, or their meal. We always serve a meal in our church.
Right.
But then you can stay right there. You don't have to. But ours here, we have a nice... Did you go through the church?
Yep.
And the basement's nice and big now.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Uh-huh. And we got a real nice minister now.
Very nice guy.
He's really... He comes over and he'll come here and he knows I have a hard time walking, and he knows I got the coffee pot on, so he'll get the coffee pot and he'll get whatever he wants to get and that, and I really like that. I do.
Yeah. You like when people make themselves at home.
Yeah, and he's just so... You're so comfortable with him, And when Fran was in the hospital, she never hardly came to church, but she came when she could, and that. But anyway, you know who Fran is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he went there and he sat with her many days and held her hand and talked to her. And
that's what you wanted in a minister.
And then they had the funeral in our church, and she was laid out up in front. That's what her kids wanted, even though her kids never come to church, and I didn't expect them to. But the one girl, whenever we have anything in church, she works at the courthouse in Escanaba. And whenever we have anything in church, she always wants to be called to bring something.
Mm.
So she really appreciated, So, but Fran suffered a lot toward her end, with that mouth and throat and that. She really did.
I guess,
and then Ellen and Evelyn Swanson, I'd have them over, and I'd have them, and I'd have Milton all the time, because I thought it'd be nice to get the cousins together. She would never come. I don't know why. But they would come, and we had a nice time.
I'll bet. What'd you cook?
Yeah.
What did you fix?
Huh?
What did you fix to eat?
She just said she couldn't come. She couldn't come, and she wasn't tied up with working or anything. She just didn't want to come.
Yeah. What did you feed them?
What did I feed them? Oh, I made a roast and potatoes, and I don't know. One time I had them and I breaded pork chops and fed them that with dressing and mashed potatoes and that. It was a regular meal. We didn't believe in, just like at church. We have mashed potatoes, and we have usually ham, and we have meatballs and gravy, and then whoever brings hot dishes and all that stuff, we have a regular meal for them.
Yeah.
And they seem to like that.
Oh,
we all
yeah.
pitch in.
Yeah.
Bring a dish and that. We'll have it done for us too. So.
Yeah.
So. But I miss the little church. I do.
But you've been going to the same church for your whole life.
Pardon?
You've been going there for your whole life.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I like, but now, do you remember Dorothy Buckmaster?
Yes, She wasn't. She was on the prayer list today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't get out at all.
Right.
But did you know her when you were a kid?
I didn't know her. My brother was friends with the Buckmasters. I just know her by name.
Oh, but your Boyd and them are. And when we went to Rudy's
Funeral?
funeral, and Dorothy, I took Dorothy with me, and I don't know who else, and your dad was there, and I said, and do you know this woman? No, he says, I don't think I've ever met her. And I said, you haven't? I said, well, you've waited on her a lot. And I said, I started to say, Dorothy Buckmaster. And he was so glad to see her, but she's gotten so thin, and she's been sick and that, But she was bound. She wanted to go there. So, yeah, they're good friends. Dorothy and them they've shopped at your dad's store a long time. Quite a few kids in Viney's family.
Uh-huh.
And when this guy is the same age as I am, his name is I forget now his last name. I don't know, but anyway, they couldn't keep him because the mother was sick, and they thought they just couldn't take another one, so they put him in a adoption agency, and somebody adopted him, and he was in Detroit for a while. And he had wonderful parents, just wonderful parents. And then he got married. And then he said after his parents died, he wanted to look up and see who he had living. And so he got around. He went to Fran's daughter, works in the courthouse. So he and his wife came up here, and they were making all kinds of inquiries and everything, and looking it up and going to the cemetery. And they did find out that he had been in Detroit, and he was a radio announcer, and his sister, real sister, was living in Detroit too, probably watched him on the radio, and he's little like the Sinclairs was. And so anyway, she found Viney Sinclair and her sister Toots and all those, but he went over to Viney's house, and Viney didn't want to tell everybody to come, because she thought she had Toots come, her sister, but she said, I thought it would be too much for him to come and find out that I had 10 kids and Toots had 12 kids, and for all of them to come in on him, it'd be too, But anyway, they came, and now his wife had died, and he got a home. You were up the cemetery.
Yeah.
Well, did you go by and see that you buy a house up there, back there?
Yeah.
On that road.
Yeah.
It's called a senior.
Oh, okay.
And you buy the house, but you don't own the lot or anything.
Yeah.
And he bought a house up there, and after his wife died and so anyway, now he isn't feeling good, but he doesn't have to worry about anything, because all those kids are there to take care of him.
So he's got all those brothers and sisters he never knew he had.
And now Bill came home for his mother's 2-year thing there. They always used to come home, and he's going to stay here till October.
Wow.
And he's going to stay with what did I say his name was? Jim.
Jim, yeah.
He's going to stay with Jim until he goes back.
Wow.
He was a teacher out in I don't know,
Arizona, California.
Yeah. And then he couldn't take it anymore, so he was on the airplanes. He was like a stewardess.
Oh, flight attendant.
He had a good job there, and so he was staying with Uncle Jim up there, but I don't think it's going to go so good for Uncle Jim, because I think Bill has got a little problem. And the day I saw him, I said to him, "Oh, I didn't even know you." Well, he said, "I partied too much last night." And I think Viney used to worry when he come and took care of her too, because I think his wife left him. But he didn't drink then, but she didn't want to be married, and she never did get married. They had 2 kids, 2 boys, and they've got grandchildren, but she never, and Bill